Hello, good afternoon. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you guys had a wonderful day. For those of you who did not have such a great day, I hope and I pray that tomorrow will be better. Okay, so my name is Randy Ramphal, and today I wanted to talk about mental health and mental illness, specifically related towards men. Um, the reason for speaking about this specific population is because I feel like a lot of times we talk about mental health, we talk about mental illness, but I feel like, we do not really speak about like how it affects men, right? So this video is not meant to cause division among men and women. It is not, going to downplay the fact that mental illness and mental health knows no race, no boundary, no sexual orientation, no gender identity, no religion, no ethnicity, um, no level of education, nothing. Mental illness and taking care of your mental illness can affect anyone at any time. And again, it's about taking care of your mental health, right? So the reasoning for this video is based on some of the myths that are often said about men that I think could prevent them from accessing services that they may need or even expressing their emotions, right? So there was an article by the National Alliance of Mental Health, and it spoke about some of the myths um, that is said about men that kind of prevents them from seeking mental health services or help that they may need. And one of the myths is that a man should be strong, and because he's strong, if he's asking for any kind of help, then he is seen as being weak. I think that we need to kind of really think about that whole myth, and we need to kind of deconstruct that, because at the end of the day, we are all human beings with feelings, we experience emotions. We're all human beings. It is part of being human. So not because you're a man mean that you should be all tough and you should be all tough and not be able to express your emotions. And I think that that idea came from the idea of toxic masculinity, that men should be tough. And what toxic masculinity is, it kind of teaching boys and men that it is not okay to express your emotions, right? It is not okay to express your emotions, and that it is okay to express anger and to be this tough guy, right? But what is happening is that what you see outside, basic outside of a person, when you see them, is not necessarily how they feel or what is going on within. So you can be all tough and you can act all tough and you can look all tough, but within you can be crying and seeking help, but nobody knows because you're trying to be tough. The reality is that we have, as a society, to think about that idea and to deconstruct it and to actually encourage men to speak about their mental health or to ask for help when it is needed, because asking for help is not a measure of weakness, it is a strength. And when a man asks for help, whether it be to talk about something that he's encountering, he is showing that he is courageous, that he is brave, that he's not scared to put his masculinity online. He is brave. So just encouraging men to speak out when they need it. Another one is the idea that a man should be able to control his emotions, right? What happens is that a lot of times men do not have that outlet to express their emotions, and how they deal with it, they cope with it, it remains in silence. And when we are not able to verbalize how we feel, then what happens, we express it in our behaviors. And the behaviors can seem to be odd, it can seem to be not according to what society seems to be the best fit or the best practice, right? So for instance, imagine this, you're a guy, right? You're working all day, you're providing for your family, you have so many pressures because maybe you have kids, you have to work three jobs, four jobs, two jobs a day, you're tired, you burned out, right? But nobody ever stops to ask you, are you okay? And then you go along your day and you just have all these feelings inside but no one to speak to. When you come home in the house, right? Therefore, you might say, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine. But maybe your behaviors towards the children, maybe your behaviors towards your significant other, maybe your behaviors towards your wife, maybe your behaviors towards anyone in the household can actually be rude, agitated. You might find that maybe you turning into wanting to have a couple drinks every evening that can eventually turn into an issue for the family. It could affect the family. So I just want you to affect the family. It can affect your relationships at work. It can take a toll on you. So again, it's not about being the tough guy here. It's about recognizing that we need to encourage men to seek mental health services, to speak about their emotions, and to kind of get rid of that notion of toxic masculinity. And don't let that kind of keep them in a cage or keep them in a box because they're a man, right? So I just want you to think about these things. Another thing to kind of think about, which a lot of times people experience various forms of trauma. And I was doing some research even before I get into the whole trauma part, but I was doing some research and it was showing that 49% of men suffer in silence and they do not express their emotions. Look how high that statistics is. 49% of men do not really express their emotions. And again, I feel like it goes back to the idea of toxic masculinity and this whole idea of men has to be tough, right? That idea. No, it is okay to ask for help if you need it. And then the idea that we should take into consideration that a lot of men experience a lot of trauma throughout their life, right? I mean, a lot of people experience trauma, but I feel that when a person undergoes any type of trauma, if it is not validated, therefore it's like a weight that has been that they carry with them, right? So think about this, and I understand the whole concept of what we grew up in different generations, and people have certain beliefs, and that's how things are. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to break some of these generational labels that we place on men in terms of even like with gender roles and all of these things. And we have to recognize that they're human beings. They have feelings, they have emotions, and they have all these different things that they experience. They're human beings. So I feel like we need to kind of emphasize and encourage men to even speak about their traumas, speak about, find that outlet to speak so that they can be validated. That they will know that they are loved, that they are appreciated for what they do, right? There was like a quote one time and it says that if you the more you show gratitude or something like that, the more you show gratitude is the more that people would continue to do because they feel appreciated. And I feel like if we tend to allow men to feel that appreciation, right, for all the hard work or for whatever they do, that can actually have an impact on them, right? So again, this video is more to try to type of bring awareness of the different stigmas that people that experience because they're men. The idea that they're strong and asking for help is weak. The idea that they should control their emotions. The idea that they should get over it. No, it's not just so easy to get over it. Sometimes these conversations needs to happen. These conversations needs to happen even in the home, because sometimes when these conversations are not happening, right, it results in worst case scenarios, right? And having these conversations can be healthy. It can have a positive impact on the family. It can have a positive impact on society in general. Just allowing men to have that voice about their mental health. Think about what that can actually do, right? Think about what that can do for the family structure. Think about what that can do for the marriages. Think about, you know, just being whole and being complete as a man. Just think about that. Think about how great that could be. So I think as a society, we need to really encourage men to talk about their mental health and mental illness. or just if they want to talk about anything, just allow them to have that voice. So again, now you're probably thinking, well, how can I do and what can I help? So this video, we're not sure who's looking, who's not looking, and all these things with this video, right? So what I would say is that in areas where people do not have access to mental health services, or do not feel like, yeah, they don't have access, one of the ways of how we can help foster these conversations is by encouraging men to actually start support groups, or even groups within various communities, so that they can come together and they can talk, they can have the guy talks, they can talk and share and express how they feel, because there is nothing better than being in a group where you all understand the struggles that each others are going through. You all teaching each other about the different coping strategies that you use. You all be there for each other as a support group, right? So for instance, like, and it makes me think about, like, sometimes even these prayer groups and stuff that they have, right? You have these different groups, and sometimes people are meant to be there for each other, right? Think about forming that with your fellow brothers in your community, and think about what that can do, right? For those who have access to mental health services, you're not weak, you're not a failure, because you're asking for help, or you're asking for mental health services. That is a gift, and by you asking for that is showing that you are being a man, because you want to better yourself so that you can help others, and you can help society, you can help your family, right? Think about, you know the times when, a lot of men, for instance, right, and you tend to see this a lot, lately, right? If there is like any type of, um, arguments or anything like that within a couple, or anything like that, right? Most of the times, they would ask the other partner, or the wife, or whoever that is, what's happening to her. But a lot of times, you don't really hear what's going on with the man, or you don't even hear what's happening with him. So I think that, we need to really take some time and consider and think about the biases that we hold in our own minds about the labels that we have for men, that maybe they need to be tough and all of these things. Maybe we are really putting them in a box. Maybe we are really putting them in a cage. Maybe we are really stopping them, or making it more difficult for them because of the biases that we hold. So let's take some time to examine that, and to encourage men to seek the help that they need, to be able to speak open about how they feel, because it could have a better impact on society, and it could have a better impact on each individual. All right, so again, just think about the biases, think about your own feelings about men and mental health, and then feel free to like, share, and comment on this video. Have a good night. Thanks. Bye.